Hey everybody, welcome back to The Approved Cooking. So I felt like making some bread today, so I'm going to show you how to make a nice and easy but delicious rye bread. And I figured, hey, if I'm making rye bread, I might as well take it a step further and show you how to make a Reuben. So it's a twofer. You're getting two recipes for the price of one video. Pretty good value. Now, one thing you will notice is the kitchen is different for most of the video. And simply put, I was up north hunting this weekend and totally forgot to film my intro while I was up there, so I had to do it when I got back home. But anyways, let's get into it. Okay, so let's make some rye bread. Now, as you can see, like I said, I'm in a different kitchen. That's because I'm up north at my folks'. Now, when making bread, you're going to start off with a stand mixer like I have here. And we're going to get 2 cups of lukewarm water. I had mine heated to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're going to add in 1.5 tablespoons of dry active yeast. We're going to give that a quick mix together like that. And then I'm just going to put a little pinch, like a 1/4 teaspoon of white sugar in just to feed the yeast and get it blooming. Set it aside for 10 minutes until the yeast starts to foam up in the water. Now, into the bowl of your stand mixer, add in 3 cups of bread flour, then 1.5 cups of rye flour. Hey, it's rye bread after all, right? Then you're going to add in 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, pour that into the bowl, and then we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. And then I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of dried caraway seeds. Now that's entirely optional, but it will 100% improve the flavor of your rye bread. From there, just give it a quick mixing with the dough hook just to make sure that all the dry stuff is mixed together. And then we're going to go get our watery yeasty mixture that's been blooming for the past 10 minutes. As you can see, it's gotten nice and foamy. That's what you're looking for to make sure that the yeast is still alive. And just pour that into the bowl of the stand mixer with everything else. Lastly, I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and then I'm going to drop the head of the stand mixer again with the dough hook, and I'm going to mix this until it's all incorporated. It's going to take about 5 to 7 minutes of mixing it at a medium speed. As you can see, that's what I'm doing here, and it'll form a nice smooth dough ball like that. Look at that. Now, it will be a little bit tacky, so you're going to want to just pull it off the dough hook nice and carefully. It will stick to your hands and the dough hook a little bit, but that's okay. It's to be expected. Because now we're going to flour our work surface and we're going to tip the dough out onto it. And really, like a lot of the breads, a lot of the doughs we deal with on this channel, we're just going to give it a little bit of kneading back and forth for about 3 to 5 minutes just to, work the gluten, develop the gluten structure a little bit more, and, also get a little bit of extra flour in there. And then you're just going to form it into a ball, just rolling it out and forming it into a nice taut ball. And then you're going to get yourself a large bowl like I have here and put a couple tablespoons, 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil in. Basically, you just want to make sure that the dough ball is going to be nice and coated. So give it a good swirl in the olive oil like that, and then cover it with plastic wrap and stick this in a warm, dry space to rise. I typically put it in my oven and let it rise for about 2 hours, but you want it to double in size, so however long that takes. Like that, it's doubled in size. So give it a little punch to deflate it a little bit, and now we're going to form it into a loaf. So get yourself a baking sheet, line it with a bit of parchment paper, and throw down some either cornmeal or semolina flour. Either works fine, because we're going to place the dough on top of that. But before we do that, we're going to take it out of the olive oil, out of the bowl, and we're going to shape it into a loaf shape in our hands. Like as you can see here, I'm just kind of moving it back and forth until it makes like a long, like rectangle, almost like a loaf size, right? And then there you go. Look at that. That looks like a loaf of bread. But we're going to cover it again and let it rise for another hour in the same warm, dry spot. So it'll come out a little bit more risen, just like that. Look at that. That's going to be great. And then, before we bake it, we are going to cut a couple of lines into it. So I'm going to use a knife here. Now, it's not a very sharp knife. Use a sharp knife. But I'm going to cut a line on the one side, then one down the middle, and then one on the right side of it. Now, as you can see, my knife wasn't that sharp, so I had to go back and do it a second time. You want to score it about 1/8 of an inch deep. So not that deep at all. But then we're going to preheat our oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit and bake this for anywhere between 25 to 30 minutes, depending on the efficiency of your oven, until it comes out golden brown looking like this. Holy crap, that is gorgeous looking. Oh man. and it smells amazing too. I can't wait to try this out. But we're gonna have to let this cool down for like an hour before we get into it. But oh man, just it smells so delicious already. Now let's cut ourselves off a piece here, and I'm just going to cut the end piece off to show you. So take a look at the crumb. It's not too dense, and there's a few little air pockets in there. That's quite nice, and it smells amazing. Oh man, I can't wait to try this. But like I said, I am going to make a Reuben out of this, so I'm just going to cut myself off 2 pieces like this, cut off 2 nice little thin pieces of rye bread. Oh man, and honestly, just the smell of it is so good. You know what, I have to try a little bit of a bite here, and oh yeah, that tastes like that's delicious rye bread. Oh man, I didn't even put anything on it, and it's just so nice and fresh and warm and delicious. Oh my god, this is going to make an awesome Reuben sandwich, just awesome sandwich. And speaking of the Reuben, here's the corned beef. So a Reuben uses corned beef, although I've seen other people use pastrami. Corned beef is typically what you do. So I'm going to put 4 slices of that on the bread, and then 3 or 4 slices of some Swiss cheese. Again, you can use other cheese if you want, but typically a Reuben will use Swiss cheese. And then I'm going to add the bane of my existence on sauerkraut. I do not like sauerkraut whatsoever. Unequivocally, I do not like it, but a Reuben has sauerkraut on it, so there it goes on my sandwich, and I'm not being sparing. And then I'm going to put a Thousand Island dressing on this. Now, typically a Reuben would use Russian dressing, but 1, I couldn't find it in the grocery store, and 2, I didn't have the ingredients to make it, and 3, I've had Reubens in the past that use a Thousand Island dressing instead. So let's fry this sandwich. You're going to fry it much like you would fry a grilled cheese. Butter both sides of it and throw it down in a frying pan on a medium heat on your burner. There we go. It's kind of precarious to place it down. So start frying it and then butter the other side of it when it's in the frying pan, or use margarine if that's what you have. Unfortunately, that's all my parents had in their house, and I much prefer butter. But then after a couple of minutes, flip it and fry the other side. As you can see, it's nice and toasty brown on the one side. Fry it 2 to 3 minutes per side, however long you fry your grilled cheeses for. Some people prefer it more crispy and some prefer it less. Who am I to judge the way you like your sandwich? But speaking of sandwich, mine's done and ready to be eaten, so let's cut this open. Oh man, that smells so good. And let's go in for the taste test. And oh yeah, even with the sauerkraut, this is delicious. Oh man, oh that is so good. That is so delicious. And you know what? The rye bread is perfect for this. It is so perfect, and it was so easy to make. So was the Reuben, like honestly. But you should try making this at home. It was a lot of fun. Making your own bread is a lot of fun, and it's really rewarding to do because it's not that hard. And hey, you get an awesome loaf of bread out of it. So you should really try doing this. I think you'd have a lot of fun doing it. But anyways, that is the end of the episode. Like always, if you like what you saw here, why don't you drop me a comment, like the video, or even subscribe to the channel. Thanks again for watching Idiot Proof Cooking. We'll see you again soon.